Hi, welcome to Find Your Flock. I'm your host, Dr. Sandra Clavijo from the Schaefer School of Engineering and Science at Stevens. If you're unsure about which engineering major to choose, you're in the right place. Each episode, I chat with students and recent grads about their favorite classes, internships, professors, and more, helping you discover the path that fits you. Today's guest is a recent graduate from engineering with a naval engineering concentration and also an AMP degree. Welcome to Find Your Flock, Kyra.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So we'd like to get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself and what you studied at Stevens.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Kyra Kozar. I am from Mountainside, New Jersey, and at Stevens, I got my Bachelor's of Engineering in Engineering with a concentration in Naval, along with a minor in Economics. And then I also participated in the Stevens Accelerated Master's Program as well, also known as AMP. And then from AMP, I received my Master's of Engineering in Ocean Engineering and a graduate certificate in Systems Engineering. So I have received a piece of paper from three different schools within Stevens. So I'm a very proud Stevens graduate.
Excellent. How did you come to study naval engineering and ocean engineering?
Okay, so my dad always makes this joke about the fact that he made the mistake when I was 5 years old of taking me on my first cruise on the Disney Magic. And he says that I fell in love with it even as a 5-year-old. I guess the concept of being out at sea, being with my favorite Disney friends, I fell in love. And I basically kept asking to go continuously on more and more on cruises. And my parents, that was just our choice of vacation. That's how we like to cruise that's how we like to vacate our family. And so when I was around 10 years old, I guess I was starting to kind of process a little bit more of like what careers were. And so I started realizing I want to work in the cruise shipping industry. And it happened to be that my mom used to work for gas tankers previously, many years ago. And someone she knew, she worked with, left and went to start Royal Caribbean. And so she put me in touch with him when I was about 10 years old, and we started emailing back and forth. And I would ask him questions or, just talk about the new ships that were coming out, or, maybe, oh, I'm going to go celebrate my 10th birthday on the Oasis of the Seas. And they left a little gift for me in my stateroom. And then in sixth grade, we had this kind of open mic night to go over a paper that you wrote in your class. And I went up, everyone's, talking about, the time they fell, hurt themselves, whatever. And instead, I go and say, when I grow up, I want to be the chairman and CEO of Royal Caribbean. And that really is what rocketed like my mental path of wanting to go work in the cruise shipping industry and go not only just working within it, but being, somebody with a very high up position. I want to be, a CEO. I want to be a female CEO. I think that would be the coolest thing on the planet. Um, and so since then, I've just kind of worked my career. I worked my path in school to hopefully help get me there one day. I worked very hard in school all through my time at Oaknall, which is a private school in Summit. I worked very hard there, and then I got into Stevens. It was actually thanks to my college counselor who told me about the Naval Engineering program. Actually, I believe she used to work for Stevens at one point in the admissions, so that's how she knew about it. Because otherwise, I was applying as either a business major or if I was doing engineering, it was mechanical engineering. I never really knew naval engineering was truthfully a thing, but luckily she brought it up that, hey, Stevens has this, so that is how I applied to Stevens, and I stuck with it my whole time, and I'm very happy to now proudly call myself a naval engineer.
I love that. Oh my goodness. I love everything about this. Actually, when we were scheduling you for the show and I emailed you, you were on a cruise. So I know it's, in your in your Stevens DNA and in your family DNA, and it's just so fun.
It's funny just to like add in there. I was talking to my mom about, kind of my love for cruising throughout my life, and just because I was on a Disney cruise for my birthday as well, it was just kind of reflecting upon like that trip back then. I said, "Mom, what was I like when I was a kid? Like, how much did I love this? Like, was I just, running around thinking whatever, I'm here, I'm there, whatever." And she's like, "No, you used to like cry when we had to get off the ship because you loved it so much." And I was like, "Oh, so nothing has changed." I still cry when I have to get off the ship because I love it so much, and being out at sea is like my pure happiness. So,
That's
It was very fun when I received your email to when I was on board as well.
That's amazing. So for because naval engineering is a very specific niche program, Stevens has, I don't know if it's like it's the only one I know of the East Coast, and I know we have the biggest tank on the East Coast, but can you tell us a little bit about what you study for naval engineering and ocean engineering, like to someone who's never heard of it before? Hopefully this will get a wide audience. So we'll a bunch of people will all learn about naval engineering.
Sounds good. Yes. So essentially, our degree is written as like engineering with a concentration in naval. So we take courses through our engineering design classes in several other disciplines. But then the concentration in naval engineering is what delves deeper into ship design and ship operations. So we therefore learn about how to build a ship from scratch. So we have a ship design process, it's a very long process, and as a naval engineer, you are with that process all the way up until the time the ship is delivered. But then even once like the ship is delivered, if you wanted to be that type of naval engineer, you could work on board and work in terms of operating the ship. So in terms of how the courses are at Stevens, it's a lot more like design based. We are very much learning, starting from deciding what the mission of the ship, the vessel's going to be, and doing an initial research, like a parametric analysis, and then just slowly you're putting the ship together. We're using different types of computer-aided ship design tools to slowly start building the hull of the vessel. And then, we build the engine room, we design the general arrangements, and we have to take into account all different types of regulations that so that's a very interesting aspect too. I know a lot of other engineering disciplines have it as well, but especially within the shipbuilding industry, our regulations are very strict due to the fact that this vessel is out at sea. So those are fun things to learn. So more classes. So once again, we take ship design, we do computer-aided ship design, ocean wave mechanics, and we also do total ship design. Those are just a few to name. I think the cool part about the naval engineering world is that you can work in ship design, but you can also work in design testing. You can also just test ship models, which we can do in the Davidson laboratory. But you can also be part of ship operations. So the world is endless, in my opinion, as a naval engineer.
I know you touched on a couple of your classes, but what was your favorite class at
Okay.
Stevens?
So I love school as a whole. So I loved mostly everything. So I kind of broke it down. So I have a favorite naval course. So it was a toss-up between principles of naval architecture and total ship design, primarily because one really gave the base design aspect of the vessel, and then the other one kind of helped put in like you learn different types of engines and stuff like that and different types of how the machinery works. So it's kind of these two classes work very well together and putting all of it together to help build your ship and they're very beneficial towards your senior design project also as well as your junior. I did a favorite non-naval course. My favorite non-naval course was fundamentals of systems engineering. I wanted to do a maritime systems and structures concentration within the systems, but it just didn't happen to work out. So I made it a systems degree for my grad certificate. Very much enjoyed those classes, and I wrote this paper all about how systems engineering can actually aid the ship design process as well. And then my favorite business class, I chose macroeconomics. I want to give everyone a little bit of everything.
That's amazing. I mean, you did have an economics minor, so I do think, especially knowing the big goal of being CEO of Royal Caribbean, seems to make sense that you're starting to put some of the pieces in place. Um, so, circling back to Royal Caribbean, I know it was a dream when you were 6 years old or 10 years old to be the CEO and chairwoman of the board of of Royal Caribbean. Um, but I do believe that you've accomplished a small part of that goal. I see on your resume you had an internship at Royal Caribbean. We'd love to hear about that and what that felt like to kind of have that moment of having a Royal Caribbean email address.
Oh, yes. Kozar at rccl.com was definitely one of my favorite. I used to send mom an email every once in a while just so she could receive one. Um, yes, so I actually had messaged at that time the chairman and CEO who my mom knows, and I just happened to say, "Do you know of any summer opportunities within Royal Caribbean?" We were coming off of COVID. So it was kind of a weird time in terms of people from my class. You're kind of getting into that internship realm again because things were starting to open up. So I wasn't sure what was fully available. I mean, I was willing to kind of do whatever, even if it was on a volunteer basis. And then luckily he told me that, yes, actually, we have our internship program currently happening this year for the first time back. Um, and so, yeah, so I was an intern in the new build department, specifically new build solutions slash fleet modernization of Royal Caribbean Group. So my department not only just works with Royal Caribbean International, it works with all the other subsidiary cruise lines, such as Celebrity Cruises and Silver Sea as well, and also a couple other smaller ones. But it's a cool department because you work not just, working with like the new builds, you also work with the current fleet as well, in terms of um, kind of refurbishments on board the ship whenever there's small like issues that department works with it, hence the title New Build Solutions. But my focus for my internship was generating the fleet stability report. So therefore, I was searching through stability booklets, loading manuals, lightweight surveys, and inclining test reports to collect several pieces of data that was needed for the report. I then created these Excel sheets that compile the latest GM history data, which you guys will learn if you become a naval engineer. So you can find out what that means when you join us, as well as lightweight and VCG data of the entire fleet. And then with that collected data, I, along with my other coworkers, we analyzed it and then we determined what could be done at future dry docks to enhance a ship's stability. So that was a very cool project to work on. I know some people are like, oh, you're writing a report, but for somebody who has known these ships like for like my whole life, I've sailed on a numerous amount of them. So just to kind of work in depth and then even find out, certain things that they had done in refurbishment to maybe help enhance the stability of the vessel was a very cool thing to see and learn and be like, oh, so that's what that is. So like I've now that I've been like learning more because it was kind of the perfect timing of my naval engineering curriculum that I know a little bit more about ship design and like seeing, oh, okay, so this piece that they added to the aft portion of the ship was called a ducktail, ironically. And it was to help enhance the vessel's stability. And I thought that that was so cool. And that was something I was able to take away from like that internship.
That's amazing. So besides your internship, I know you've also done some research at our on our campus through the Davidson Laboratory. How did that compare to your work experience? Like, what were the similarities, or what does one do for the research area in naval engineering?
So I think the fun part was working in the lab was kind of different for me. There was no cruise ships involved. So some people say, oh, I don't know why you would want to do that, Kyra. But I also realize that, I want to be a very well-rounded person and learning about, other aspects of the shipping industry. Because as I will continue later on, it's a big industry. You can go into, naval ships, you can go into shipping, containers. There's just so many opportunities within it. So I think that was the fun part about working in the lab and working with research because I got to learn about what other students were researching because we also would test, grad student or PhD student vessels, or even it could be somebody who was in just pure ocean engineering and they were kind of working on wave energy. It wasn't just restricted to working on ship models. So that was interesting. And every once in a while, there was something that was maybe from the US government. And, it was fun, like when we had to go into like a locked room setting and, knowing that what we kind of learn or do can't, leave the lab. Um, and once again, learning about just the aspect of testing a ship model. It's very interesting as well because there's a lot of parallels between that and what we're doing in class as well. We do the equations that are for the ship and we do them for a ship model as well because they're scaled down. So that was a very interesting experience, and I feel like it also helped me kind of put a real life perspective on what I learn in class, as well as also just getting to know better your professors and your fellow students. It's a very small group, and that's what's wonderful about it. So we all become very close. And yeah, no, so also working in the lab was a great opportunity. And if you do decide to become a naval engineer, I highly recommend that you look into working in the lab, as I feel like it can benefit not just your studies, but it's also something wonderful to be able to talk about in the future with people as well.
Excellent. Um, so looking back, what advice would you give to our current first year students that may be uncertain about their major or learning about our different engineering majors?
So, first things first, don't be afraid of engineering. I feel like, yes, it definitely is a difficult major because there's a lot of work, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I was definitely working all the time. Other students at other schools, doing non-engineering majors, they'll talk about a midterm week, whereas for us, it feels like it's like a whole month, or, in some classes, you're just taking a periodic exam. There's no such thing as like a midterm per se. But definitely don't be scared of it because there's just so many doors that open when you become an engineer. And I feel like it's so fulfilling to know that you can help build the future. I think that's an amazing thing to say, knowing that you're an engineer. It's a very versatile major as well. You can start in one part of the industry and then transfer to another. I do know somebody who actually started as a naval engineer and now is an ER room doctor. So the world is endless. You have so many doors that are now open for you, and it's wonderful. And once again, thanks to the Stevens curriculum, you're really graduating as a true professional. You really do get to walk out after your graduation and tell people, yes, I am an engineer, and that is something to be proud of. And I think that's purely a reasoning also to become, to stick with your engineering major, no matter which one it is, just to say that you are one, and people look at you and they hold you to a higher standard as a result of that. Um, and I think that's the best thing. I love when I'm on board a ship or something like that. That's just my best example. But, just telling people that I'm a naval engineer and always it's like, whoa, that's so cool. Tell me more. No matter who it is, it's an open door to talk about. And so definitely do not give up. Please continue on your dreams of becoming an engineer if that's what you want to do. No doubt.
Excellent. And we'll always like to end with you giving us your best pitch, why someone should choose the naval engineering concentration, besides for the perks of always being on a boat. Um, so why should someone choose naval engineering concentration?
Yes. So actually, this is a little snippet out of one of my papers, but the maritime industry does stand at the forefront of global commerce. You navigate vast oceans to connect the continents, and it facilitates trade and sustains economies. Actually, according to the UN's Conference on Trade and Development, it actually accounts for 80% of global trade by volume, and the movement of goods is worth over $14 trillion. So the maritime shipping industry is a big industry, and I think that's what's so amazing about it. There's endless opportunities, and it's constantly growing. It is definitely not at a standstill. Um, I think naval engineering at Stevens may seem like it's a small major, and you kind of feel a little like an outsider sometimes because oh, everyone's doing mechanical, CS, chemical, but even though naval may be small, there's a big world out there, and you are able to conquer it through many different volumes. Also, as well, naval engineering, as I said, is very global. So if you're somebody who likes to travel, there's many opportunities for you to be traveling around the world. I know, hopefully, I hope to see myself potentially being a site manager at one of the shipyards in Europe, hopefully supervising a new build cruise ship. That's like part of my bucket list of of jobs. I would love to be out in maybe France for a year and just experience that and be able to watch a ship build piece to piece together, and then watch it sail and know that I was a part of that. So just I think that's definitely something about naval engineering is the part that you get to be with your product from the beginning to the end, and the best part is to see it at the end and know that that was what you were part of. So that's what I will say. But please choose naval engineering. We're a phenomenal department. And plus, you get Liz as an advisor. So
Special shout out to Liz O'Connell.
special shout out to Liz O'Connell. We love you.
Excellent. That's amazing. I want to be a naval engineer now. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's all the time we have. I want to thank our guest, Kyra, for sharing her journey and wisdom with us. You'll have to email me when you are, you've completed that bucket list item. We'll interview you again in 2 years, hopefully,
Totally.
as you're checking off those items. So for everyone else, if you're feeling inspired, confused, or curious, you're not alone. That's why we're here and interviewing our amazing alumni. Make sure to follow the show and share with someone else exploring their next steps.